If someone you love has started to change in ways you can't quite explain, please don't click away. Many people believe that when an older person dies, it just happens one day. But for most seniors, the body begins to send quiet warnings months, sometimes a full year, before life reaches its final chapter. The heartbreaking part is that these warnings are easy to miss. Families often brush them off as just getting older. Only later, looking back, do they realize the signs were there all along. And by then, it's too late to prepare, to say what needed to be said, or to make those last months gentler and more meaningful. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 powerful signs that often show up in the last year of an elderly person's life. Some of them might already sound familiar. Others may help you finally understand what you've been sensing, but couldn't put into words. The goal is not to frighten you. It's to give you clarity so you can offer better care, protect your loved one's dignity, and make the most of the time you still have together. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand these signs, you'll be far less likely to be caught off guard. You'll be able to respond with calm, compassion, and a plan. Let's begin with the change most families notice first, even if they don't yet realize how serious it is. Sign number 1, a deep, unshakable fatigue. In the last year of life, one of the most common and misunderstood changes is a profound tiredness that never really lifts. This is not the normal end-of-day fatigue we all feel. It's a heaviness that settles into everything. Getting out of bed in the morning becomes a major effort. Walking across the room feels like a small journey. Tasks that used to be simple, making breakfast, getting dressed, even keeping up with a conversation, start to feel like running a marathon. What's happening inside the body is that vital organs are beginning to slow down. The heart may not pump as strongly, circulation becomes weaker, and the muscles don't receive the same flow of oxygen and nutrients they once did. To cope, the body does something very logical. It starts conserving energy. Instead of spending energy on movement, chores, or social activities, the body shifts into preservation mode. The result is more daytime sleep, longer naps, and shorter periods of alertness. You may notice that your loved one drifts off in the middle of a TV show or seems completely drained after doing something that used to be effortless. There's also an emotional side to this fatigue. Many older adults who have always prided themselves on their independence feel embarrassed or frustrated when they suddenly can't manage what they used to. They may pull back from social interactions, decline invitations, or stop participating in hobbies, not because they don't care, but because they simply don't have the strength. From the outside, it can be tempting to say, "You just need to move more," or "You're sleeping too much." But when the body is truly in decline, pushing harder usually doesn't help. What they need most is understanding, flexible routines, opportunities to rest and support that doesn't make them feel guilty or weak. If you're watching someone you love fade from active and engaged to exhausted and withdrawn, and that tiredness doesn't improve with rest, take it seriously. Often this deep fatigue is one of the first signals that the body is shifting into its final phase. Sign number 2, the body quietly shrinking. The next sign often appears in the mirror or in the way clothing fits. Slow but steady weight loss, even when no diet has changed. At first, it might look harmless. A belt suddenly has to be tightened. A blouse looks a bit loose at the shoulders. Family members may even say, "You look good. You've lost a little weight." But when an older person loses weight without trying, especially over several months, it is rarely just a cosmetic issue. Behind the scenes, the body may no longer be absorbing nutrients the way it used to. Muscle tissue, which is critical for strength, balance, and immune function, begins to break down. Digestion slows. In many cases, the body becomes less efficient at processing protein, which speeds up muscle loss even more. You'll often see this change in their arms and legs first. Limbs look thinner, movements less stable, and a once firm grip grows weaker. This doesn't just make daily activities harder, it raises the risk of falls, infections, and hospital stays that can accelerate decline. Appetite changes are another piece of this puzzle. As the body moves toward the end of life, hunger signals often fade. Food doesn't smell or taste the same. Meals that were once enjoyable start to feel like work. Many seniors begin to skip meals, nibble a few bites, or say they are full after only a few spoonfuls. This isn't stubbornness. It's a real physiological shift. The body, sensing that it is winding down, simply stops asking for as much fuel. Underlying illnesses can also play a role. Conditions like cancer, advanced heart failure, kidney disease, severe lung problems, or even major depression often cause unintentional weight loss months before they become obvious in other ways. Families usually respond with love. They cook favorite foods, bring snacks, or add nutritional drinks. Sometimes this helps a little, but if the scale keeps dropping despite these efforts, it's a sign that something deeper is happening. At that point, the goal often moves from making them eat to keeping them comfortable. Small, easy-to-eat meals, soft foods, and plenty of fluids. If you're seeing ongoing, unexplained weight loss along with weakness or reduced appetite, don't ignore it. It is often the body's quiet way of saying, "I'm changing," long before more dramatic symptoms appear. If you're still watching and this is resonating with you, write "I'm listening" in the comments so I know you're here with me. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe and turn on the bell. We talk honestly about aging, caregiving, and the things most people are afraid to say out loud. Let's look at what happens next when the mind starts to reflect the body's decline. Sign number 3, the mind fading in and out. As the body slows down, the brain often does too. For many families, this is one of the most painful changes to witness. You might notice that someone who was once sharp, witty, and involved begins to struggle with things that never used to challenge them. They misplace items more often. They repeat questions. They lose track of dates or get confused about where they are, even in familiar surroundings. This goes beyond the occasional senior moment. The brain relies on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients. When circulation declines, the brain is one of the first organs to feel the effects. That's when memory, focus, and decision-making begin to slip. Some days they may seem almost like their old self, clear, present, engaged. On other days, they might appear distant, puzzled, or unsure. It can feel as if their mind is moving in and out of focus. Emotional withdrawal is also very common. Conversations that were once enjoyable start to feel exhausting. Loud environments are overwhelming. Your loved one may talk less, spend more time sitting quietly, or choose to stay in their room instead of joining others. You might also see shifts in mood. Someone gentle and patient might become easily irritated or anxious. Another person may seem unusually calm or detached, as if they're watching life from a distance rather than participating in it. It's important to remember, this isn't a character flaw or a choice. It's a symptom. The brain is adjusting to the body's overall decline, and emotions become harder to process and express. For families, this stage can feel like losing the person twice, once emotionally and once physically. You may miss the conversations you used to have, or feel hurt when they don't respond the way they used to. The most powerful thing you can do in this season is to meet them where they are. Instead of trying to force long discussions or correct every confusion, focus on presence. Sit beside them, hold a hand, speak calmly. Even when words are few, your voice, your touch, and your steady presence are deeply reassuring. If you begin noticing increasing confusion, disorientation, or emotional withdrawal, see it as another sign that the mind and body are preparing for a transition. This is the moment to slow down, simplify, and create an environment that feels safe, familiar, and peaceful. Sign number 4, the body stops bouncing back and 𝐀𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 see in their last year of life is a noticeable change in how their body handles illness and injury. You may realize that someone who rarely caught anything now seems to pick up every bug. A simple cold lingers for weeks. A urinary tract infection clears up, only to return again. Skin infections, gum problems, or chest infections like pneumonia appear more often than they used to. What's happening is that the immune system, the body's defense army, is growing weaker. As organs age and slow down, they don't support the immune responses effectively. The body can no longer fight off germs and viruses with the same strength. Even treatments that once worked quickly may not be as effective. Antibiotics need more time to help or have to be changed or repeated. Hospital stays become more frequent. Recovery, instead of taking a few days, stretches into weeks. Wound healing tells a similar story. Small cuts, scratches, or bruises that used to disappear after a few days now seem to hang around. They may stay red or swollen longer, or reopen just when they seem to be improving. Poor circulation means less oxygen and fewer nutrients are reaching the skin, which slows the repair process. For someone who spends more time in bed or in a chair, this can lead to pressure sores, painful areas of damaged skin that can easily get infected if not watched closely. These are not just surface problems. They are signs that the body's repair system is struggling. One of the trickiest parts is that infections in older adults often don't look typical. Instead of spiking a high fever, your loved one may simply seem more confused, more sleepy, or less interested in eating and drinking. Families sometimes miss the connection, assuming it's just a bad day, when in reality an infection is brewing. At a certain point, you and the medical team may find yourselves facing hard choices. Do you keep sending them to the hospital? Do you keep trying aggressive treatments that leave them exhausted and uncomfortable? Or do you shift the focus from curing to comforting? There's no single right answer. Every situation is different. But it helps to understand that repeated infections and very slow healing usually mean the body is having trouble keeping up with life's basic demands. If you're still watching and this part of the video is speaking to you, type number 4 in the comments so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing it now and turning on the bell. It helps us keep creating content that supports caregivers and seniors through these difficult seasons. Let's look at the final sign, the one that tells us the body is very close to its last chapter. Sign number 5, breathing and circulation changing shape. As the end of life draws nearer, the way a person breathes and how their blood circulates often change in very visible ways. You may notice that your loved one's breathing becomes lighter and more shallow. There may be long pauses between breaths or moments when their breath suddenly speeds up and then slows again. Some people develop a pattern called Cheney-Stokes respiration, where breathing cycles between deep breaths and quiet, extended pauses. To someone watching, this can be frightening. It may look as if they are struggling or as if they might stop breathing altogether at any moment. In many cases, however, this is part of the natural dying process. The brain's breathing center is adjusting as the body conserves energy. Circulation shifts as well. Because the heart is not pumping as forcefully, the body starts prioritizing blood flow to vital organs. Hands and feet often become cool or even cold to the touch. The skin on the fingers, toes, nose, or ears may look pale, bluish, or mottled with purple-gray patterns. Shortness of breath can also increase. Activities that used to be comfortable, sitting up, speaking a few sentences, or changing positions, may leave them winded. They may start breathing through their mouth, take frequent pauses while talking, or prefer to stay propped up on pillows instead of lying flat. Sometimes fluid builds up in the lungs, especially in people with heart or kidney problems. This can create a wet, gurgling sound when they breathe, or provoke a persistent cough. Again, while this is scary to hear, it is often another sign that the body is nearing its limit. In these moments, the goal usually isn't to force normal breathing again at all costs. Instead, the focus turns to comfort, a cool, calm room, a fan or open window, a humidifier, gentle repositioning, small sips of water or ice chips if they can swallow safely. In some cases, doctors may recommend oxygen or medications to ease discomfort. If you begin seeing these patterns, irregular breathing, cold extremities, color changes in the skin, it is often an indication that the body is in its final phase. It's a time to be close, to speak softly, to hold a hand, and to offer reassurance even if they can no longer answer you. We've talked about 5 powerful signs that often appear in the last year of an elderly person's life. A deep and persistent fatigue, gradual but significant weight loss, cognitive changes and emotional withdrawal, repeated infections and slow healing, and finally, major changes in breathing and circulation. These signs don't always arrive in the same order, and not everyone will experience all of them. But when several of them show up together, especially in a relatively short period of time, it is usually a message from the body that it is preparing for a final transition. For families, this is incredibly hard to face. The instinct is to fight, to push them to eat more, walk more, try another treatment, stay exactly the way they were. But sometimes the most loving thing we can do is not to resist every change, but to listen to what those changes are telling us. Understanding these signs is not about giving up. It's about shifting your focus from trying to stop death at all costs to making sure life, right now, is as comfortable, dignified, and meaningful as possible. That might mean sitting quietly together instead of urging them to be more active. It might mean arranging hospice or palliative support sooner rather than later. It might mean having important conversations, sharing memories, or simply saying, "I love you," more often, while there is still time. If you're starting to notice these changes in someone close to you, please remember, you are not alone. Many families have walked this path, and while it is never easy, knowing what to expect can help you find strength and peace in the middle of it. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'd truly like to hear from you. In the comments, share one thing you learned today and how it's changing the way you think about caring for an older loved one. Your stories and your honesty may be exactly what another viewer needs to read tonight. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might be facing the same questions, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next conversations we'll have about real life after 60, 70, and beyond. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.